So the other night, I was up pretty late working on videos, and I decided to take a small little break, probably like 1:30, 2 in the morning, something like that. Pulled up Facebook, went to go look at my memories, and I saw something that, well, really just made me feel old. But it also gave me the idea to make this video. And what that post was it was letting me know that 7 years ago on that day was the day that I received one of the first ever BRS replicants to ever be released. And since I'm making Balisong videos again, the timing was perfect. So today we're gonna sit back and take a look and see how my BRS V1 replicant has held up over the past 7 years. Oops. What is up, guys? Den BMX here. Now, in my short time of making Balisong videos, we ended up looking at quite a few pretty cool knives and trainers. But one thing we didn't do is get a little nostalgic and look back on my first real Balisong, my BRS version 1 replicant. And that's what we're gonna do today. But before we get into all that, I just wanna say real quick, if you guys go on to enjoy this video, I would really appreciate it if you let me know and help support the channel by leaving a like. That way I can please my dominatrix known as the YouTube algorithm. Leave a comment, give me your thoughts and opinions, maybe even share the video around. Make sure you're subscribed if you haven't already and you enjoy this content that I put out. And if you really like this channel, maybe even consider joining a membership. That way you would directly help support this channel and you would also get access to a bunch of extra perks and goodies and cool little secret stuff. But anyway, enough being a tool. Let's get into this video. So 7 years ago today, not today, it's not that accurate. It's been 7 years, but that day was a while ago already. So, backstory. I had been flipping for like, I don't know, 3 years, I think. What I was flipping was all this crap. This was the first Bally I ever bought. It doesn't even have a name. It sucks. And then I had this one for a while. This is the one I actually learned quite a bit of tricks on. It was an okay flipper, but now while this would make me the devil in some people's eyes, after that I moved on to a couple Benchmade clones. These weren't amazing either, but this one flipped okay, and it kept me going for quite a while. But then Blade Runner Systems started coming into the picture. That was when they first started becoming like a real thing, and they ended up dropping the Alpha Beast, and I was like, yo, that thing's sick, but I'm not spending like $350 on a Balisong. I mean, I can't do that. So I wasn't able to get one of those. But then I was watching a vlog. I think it was like a Knife Zoid vlog or something like that, and in that video they were looking at the prototype for the replicant, and like Matt Cook made it. It was like Fake and Silent J and Knife Zoid flipping it and messing around with it, and I was looking at it and just the sounds it was making, the way it looked, the shape of the blade, I needed a bucket, pretty much. So right then, I told myself, I'm gonna start saving now. That way, however long down the line when that thing actually releases, I will be ready and I can be one of the first people to buy it. However long it ended up being, I don't remember. It's probably like 6 months or maybe even closer to a year. Sooner or later, BRS ended up dropping their first production run of replicants. And I'm very happy to say that I was one of the people who was able to snag it. Now, I think the drop happened in like June or July, but I didn't end up getting this until November of that year. I must have been one of, if not the last person to be able to grab one because I was seeing people get theirs way sooner than mine, so I assume I was pretty late on the list. But once I got it, you were hard-pressed to get this thing out of my hands. You can go deep into my Instagram. Follow me at DenBMX, and you can find my young, cringy ass doing nothing but flipping this knife and posting clip after clip after clip. I was one of those psychopaths that still had the latch on for a real long time. Yeah, once I got this thing, it was the only Bally that I touched. pretty much. It was my main flipper. It was my EDC. It was my beater. It was my grail. This thing was my Balisong. And this was the only thing that I used nonstop for a good 6 years until I decided to start making Balisong content on this channel and started getting all these new trainers and other kinds of knives to have something else to showcase on the channel. But for a good 6 years, it was just me and this thing. Okay, friends, now that we're all well acquainted on the backstory of how me and this, I almost said guitar, of how me and this Balisong first met, now we can peel back the foreskin. We can get all up close and personal and see how this thing has held up over the years as we talk about the specs and a few other quirky little things about this knife. So, as most of you guys probably know, the BRS Replicant is a sandwich style construction Balisong that is comprised of some titanium liners with some G10 scales, a 154 cm steel blade, Zen pin construction with a bushing driven pivot system. Now that we're all up close and personal, you can see some of the wear that these handles have taken over the years, especially I think it's most noticeable on the edges. Everything else considered, these handles have held up remarkably well. Yes, the titanium on the inside is a little bit dirty just because I've never fully taken this thing apart to clean it. And then also the blade, it has seen some better days. It's pretty burred and chewed up at the moment. Now for a while there, I was sharpening this thing probably about once a year, but it's been a while since I've sharpened it. But don't worry, it can still do its job of cutting me. None of the screws over time have stripped out, although there are some, specifically these ones back here, that are pretty close, but I'm not too worried about it. They're all screwed in pretty solid right now. It's all Loctited up. Now, some of you may be thinking there's a really intricate, like 5-head ass reason why I have the white tape on these handles. Not really. I saw some guy flipping with white tape on the ends of his handles one day, and I thought it looked really cool, so I put it on the Replicant, and I just have never taken it off because I think it looks really cool. There's no, like, functional reason that I have it on there. Just looking at it up close, like, yeah, it's beat up, and it has some wear and damage, but maybe not as much as you would think for it being 7 years old. The blade is probably definitely the worst, and then maybe the ends of the handles are the most chewed up. Now, this thing does have a bushing system in it, and while it is tuned well, it is not tuned the best. As you can see, there is indeed a little bit of play. It's not much at all, but it is enough to where there is also tap. It is kind of lame how it's scraped up the blade over the years, but other than that, play and tap really doesn't bother me. I'm kind of an old head, I guess, in that sort of sense. But I know that there's a lot of people out there that really do care about play and tap, so I'm going to mention it. Now, there's one more thing that I want to talk about before we go to the flipping demo, and that is that this Replicant is a little special and a little different than most of your other Replicants that you would run into. You see, these version 1 Replicants, they're actually designed a little bit different than a modern day, normal day production Replicant that's out now. It's kind of hard to notice, but if you have them side by side, it's easier to tell. But the tapers on the blade and on the handles, quite a bit more pronounced. So what I'm talking about is how the size tapers from the top to the end of the handles. As you can see, it starts off kind of skinny and then it just gets wider and wider until we get to the end of the handles. Blade does the same thing. You see how it gets thicker towards this area. There are other subtle little differences that I'm drawing a blank on right now, but that is the main one that people always tend to talk about, is that the taper on these handles and this blade is a little bit more. Replicants are pretty neutral flippers. They may be a little handle biased, but not by much at all. But with these V1 Replicants, since the taper is a lot more exaggerated, most of the weight of the handles and of the blade is going to mostly be in these areas where it's thicker. So while it is still a pretty neutral bias, the extra weight towards the ends, I think, helps with momentum. A lot of people say that they prefer the way a V1 flips over a production Replicant, but I can't talk about that because I've never flipped any other real Replicant other than this one, so I have no frame of reference. But there are people out there that do say these V1 Replicants flip better, so if that's true, cool. Lucky for me. So yeah, I think I've yapped on quite long enough, so let's go and get into the flipping demo of this thing. So it's a little echoey in here, but I think it'll be okay for at least the flipping demo. So, how does this thing flip? You're really going to ask that question. I flipped this every day for 6 years, and you're going to wonder what my thoughts and opinions are on how it flips. Like, there's a reason I didn't want anything else for like 6 years. I just got so comfortable on this thing, and I got so used to it that I just didn't feel the need or want to have anything else to flip. So I just used this. That line got a little wonky. Yeah, so if you couldn't tell, I'm pretty comfortable with this thing. Flip's amazing. The balance point on it, right where the chevrons are at. Yeah, this thing is just awesome with everything. This thing just works so well with like everything that I do. You can do regular fans and you can do choker fans great. It aerials great. It's so easy to time. Rollovers feel great and natural and effortless. Twirls feel great. Get it ready. See if I can do the scissor. Yep, I can scissor with this thing pretty comfortably. The only bad thing is my hand just cramps up and the carpal tunnel kicks in and I have to stop. Ladders feel very good with this thing. Rollovers of all kinds, twirls of all kinds, aerials of all kinds. This thing just wants to flip, and it wants to flip good. Hey guys, it's Balisong flipping here. I'm just kidding. Oh. What's a Balisong video without some POV, am I right? But yeah, just some final little flipping clips as we wrap up this video. All I can say is this is probably one of the best purchases I've ever made in my life. This is going to wrap up the video of us taking a look and seeing how my version 1 BRS rep has held up these past 7 years. This knife is amazing. I love this thing. I'm never letting it go. It has held up fantastic over these past 7 years, and I'm excited for the next 7. Once again, before we go, if you guys enjoyed, let me know and help support the channel by leaving a like, leave a comment, give me your thoughts and opinions, maybe share the video around, subscribe for more if you haven't already, and you're excited for more Balisong content here on this channel. And if you really like this channel and want to directly help support it, maybe consider joining the membership, and you will get access to a bunch of other goodies and extras and perks that you would not get otherwise. All right, I've been walking up and down this driveway for like half an hour. I'm going. Thank you guys once again so much for watching. I will see you guys next time. Now get the fuck out of here.